All right, so it's been a little bit over a year that I've had my Z06. I feel like I've had this car long enough now to where I can make a proper review. I've put about 3,000 miles on the car. So just to give a backstory on me and this car, I lived in New York, loved cars. I had a 350Z as my first car, learned how to drive stick on a twin disc. So this is not my first sports car. This is not my first manual car. Unfortunately, due to the weather and the deer in New York, my car got totaled. So insurance paid me out, car was a total loss, the thing was destroyed. And I really had to analyze, with the weather and the things that I want to do with cars in the future, do I really want to stay in New York? So after a few months of thinking, I ultimately came to a conclusion that I was gonna move. I ended up pulling some strings, talked with people within my company, and I took an offer here in Dallas. So right now I'm in Texas, and I've been here for a little bit over 1 year. And pretty much after 1 or 2 weeks of being here, I bought this. So this is my 2007 C6 Z06. I bought it with 29,000 miles, pretty much at that 30,000 mark. And it was bone stock besides the heads being fixed and a cold air intake. The car was tuned on 91 and the heads were replaced with CNC stage 2 ported heads. So no valve drop issues to be worried about there. And the car is making a bit more power than stock. I've brought this car to meets, I've raced it, I've did some spirited driving. So throughout this whole year of having it, it's definitely gone through a decent amount of driving, and I feel like I'm definitely able to give a rundown of the car and the ownership. And so the first segment we're gonna get into is why I bought this car. If you couldn't tell, I like Japanese cars. I love Zs, I still love them. I was actually looking at 370Z Nismos, not to keep stock, but to boost, because those cars with a proper turbo setup are very fast. They handle great, they sound great, they look great, and it would have been an amazing car with the Nismo trim. The only thing I couldn't justify was paying $40,000 for a Nismo 370Z to get the car to where I would want to with a proper turbo setup, making 650, 700 wheel. That would have cost me around $15,000, and I'm not gonna be getting that money back once I put it into the car. And so I continued to shop around. I'm into cars, so I knew about Vets, I knew about M4s. I was actually looking at an F80 M3 as well. Love those cars, but there was really no other car for the money and the looks and the performance that compared to this. I originally got into the C6 market looking for a Grand Sport, but to find a clean Grand Sport in the color and the trim that I would like in a manual is very, very hard. So then eventually I said, screw it, I'm gonna look for C6 Z06s. This thing popped up for sale in Oklahoma City, came down here to Texas, bought it, and here we are today. And now obviously one of the main reasons why I bought it is the way that it looks. This car is beautiful. People consider it to be the best looking Corvette. I think it's probably a tie between this and the C7. Preference is different through everybody. And now the second reason why I bought this car is the performance. This car is a fucking animal, to say the least. I haven't raced a max effort car yet. Any of these crazy turbo builds. I'm in Texas after all. Here in Texas, we have 1,400 horsepower GTRs that are daily drivers, and you wouldn't be able to tell how much power they're making until you line up and fuck around and find out. But even with that being said, I've raced a decent amount of cars. I've raced Supras, I've raced Zs, I've raced a few Audis like an RS3, and this car beats every single one of them. Now, it's not because my car is crazy built or it's a max effort car. It looks basically stock. I'd like to consider it OEM plus. These Vets are unique because you can drift them, drag them, track them, you can race them. You can do pretty much anything you want with this car, making 500 horsepower from a naturally aspirated 7-liter V8. It was a no-brainer for me as to why I picked this car over something like an M3 or a 370Z. The gearing alone in this is scary. These cars will hit 65 in first, 90 in second. The gearing will allow you to do many, many things in these cars, and they're part of the reason why they are so fast. Another reason is the weight. The car only weighs 3,100 pounds stock. This car coming in at 3,100 pounds, I already knew the power to weight ratio would be something I'd enjoy, and the overall drivability and driver's experience in this is great because of how lightweight the car is. Not only is the block aluminum, but The subframe is also aluminum. It's got carbon fiber fenders, and besides the carbon on these cars, everything else is pretty much fiberglass, so the car is extremely light. This Vet will definitely go down as one of the greats. It'll probably go down as one of the best American cars made, is a C6. And the next thing I want to talk about is the driver's experience. Not many people care about this. Obviously, people who like sports cars or exotics, they might not always want that driver's experience. For example, the SVJ is an amazing car, but it objectively doesn't drive good. It's heavy, it's clanky, the transmission's not nice. This car, on the other hand, is a completely different experience. For it being a manual, it drives incredibly smooth. The transmission is butter. The car's steering is amazing. The thing is on rails. You know, you can take turns in this thing very, very fast because of its just lightweight, wide body, big tires, a lot of contact with the ground. So it allows the car to handle phenomenally. It's the best handling car I've ever been in, and it's not the first sports car I've owned. It's not the first sports car that I've been in. In reality, this car has a almost perfect 50-50 weight distribution, and on top of that, it is a front mid-mount engine. You can definitely feel that. This car does not feel front heavy at all. It feels very balanced, and with a torque tube, my transmission is actually in the rear of the car. Another thing I love is how raw and exhilarating this car is. You feel a lot of connection with the road. Most of these new cars, you kind of feel like you're just floating around. This car, you feel everything. You feel super connected. All of that stuff makes for a great driver's experience. This thing is fun. Rear wheel drive, manual, smooth to drive with great feedback and this raw, exhilarating feel behind the wheel. It's amazing. And now another really good reason as to why I bought the car was the way that it sounds. Again, I bought this thing basically bone stock besides the heads being fixed, so it wasn't too loud, but for being a stock car, it definitely wasn't quiet by any means. Now the car sits with 2-inch headers and a 3-inch X-pipe. I've also had the mild to wild switch installed, so that means that I can open and close the valves as I want to, but even now, it's definitely way louder than stock. For this car being a 7-liter V8, you would think the car would sound a bit different. I know some guys make the car sound very deep and rich with an aftermarket muffler, but right now with how mine sits, it's very high pitched. Once it gets past $4,000, the car almost screams. I mean, the car is vile. It's just so angry and it just sounds amazing. And I know it might be a hot take, but I don't care. Argue with the wall. The Z06 is one of the best sounding V8s ever. I would definitely put it top 10. This car through a tunnel is deafening. It sounds like the gates of hell are being opened. It sounds like you're behind a demon. The torque in this is insane. LSs are known for being torque monsters. It's very, very fun. It's snappy. It's almost instant. Even with 2-inch headers, the car still is super, super snappy and it's almost instant torque. Needless to say, it's a very fun car that gets very rowdy. It's a rear-wheel drive. It sounds great. So that torque delivery with the way that it sounds, it puts a smile on your face every time. And even with that, the car is still very streetable. Probably the only negative I can say about the actual performance is they do get hot. It doesn't affect performance much. It's still a healthy temp, but you as the driver definitely feel it. And now when it comes to the highway, it is amazing. This is a cruiser all day. The car loves to be going 50, 60 miles an hour. You can do that at almost any gear too, which is great. So it's just a really enjoyable car to drive. It's so smooth and it handles great. Being able to drop 3 gears at 80 miles an hour and take a crazy hit from 3rd gear is something that's really, really special. Not many cars can do that, and this is one of those cars that definitely can. The gearing is amazing. It handles so well. The way that it's put together just complements the car so much, and it definitely is a driver's car. And not gonna lie, I wasn't used to this much power. When I first got the car, it was a little intimidating. I definitely was kind of shook up to do real hits, but as I've matured and as I've learned the car and learned how to handle this power, I've definitely been able to let it swing out in the rear and have a real fun time with it. So it's definitely a car that I enjoy driving. I definitely wouldn't recommend this as a first car. I suggest you get something like a BRZ or a Miata or something that's cool, maybe even a Type R. Learn how to drive, learn how to slide your car around, and then I can't see why after a year or two of learning that and learning stick, you can drive this car. But yeah, moral of the story, 520 wheel is plenty of power for the street. You don't need any more than that. It is a really, really good street car horsepower number. And so another huge thing with this car would be the reliability. The heads issue is real. Don't listen to these idiots online that say, oh, you're being paranoid. Guys grenade their motors all the time. Look up LS7 valve drop issue and you will see dozens and dozens of guys who blew up their motor. This isn't a small issue either, it's a major one. Don't be an idiot. If you're in the market for a car, make sure the heads are fixed. If they're not fixed, make sure you get them done. And please don't take someone's word for it. When I bought this car, the guy had already fixed the heads. He had full paperwork, he had a dyno sheet, he had an invoice number from the shop that did it. Called them up, they verified that it was done. It's not something to play about when you're buying a $40,000 car with a $15,000 engine waiting to blow up on you. It's definitely not a joke, so make sure that when you're buying one, it's either done or that you have a budget to immediately fix the heads. Besides that, it's still an LS, and this thing is extremely reliable. It's never given me a single issue once. It is turnkey, temps are good, everything is good. All I've done is change the oil, top off my reservoir for windshield wiper fluid. I think it's safe to say that Japanese cars take the cake in terms of full-blown reliability, but the LS platform has definitely changed my views on American cars and reliability. In terms of mods, I've only really done the basic stuff. The car got tints, the roof was wrapped black. I've upgraded all the lighting, so we have aftermarket headlights, we have Morimoto fog lights there. I did the front and the rear side markers as well. The tails have been swapped out to Morimoto version 2 taillights, and I've done all the interior bulbs like the overhead lighting, the trunk lighting, etc. I've also done the ZR1 style aero kit. That really did change the look of the car a lot. They do look kind of funky when they come stock. I don't feel like the stance with not having that aggressive aero complements the car. So this alone made a huge difference, and even with the stock wheels and the stock stance, the car looks much, much better. And in terms of performance, the only thing that I've done to the car is headers and the next pipe. The car also had upgraded spark plugs, lifters, valves, and everything that came with the head job. So it's sitting in a really good place, and I'm very confident with the car. As far as future mods, I plan to cam the car, wheels, tires, do a little bit more aero. I might swap this stuff out for carbon. And so the last thing I want to talk about is cost of ownership and maintenance. How much does it cost to own this car? So cost of ownership for me being 23, my insurance for this car is around $250 a month. Obviously, as I stated earlier in the video, I crashed my Z. I crashed it. Any claim with insurance is going to raise your rate, whether you're at fault or not. So a comprehensive claim, if a tree falls on your car and destroys it, it's not your fault, but you still have to pay more insurance. That's what happened with mine. Thankfully, people don't really crash these cars. Corvette owners take real good care of their stuff. Once you get into like Mustangs and Hellcats, you have a bunch of young kids slamming them in the walls, team takeover stuff, and that's going to drive your insurance up. So yeah, overall, I would definitely say that this car in terms of insurance is not bad at all. It could be way worse for someone as young as me in a sports car. Second thing is tires. Tires are not cheap. I haven't had to buy any of them. This car came with maybe tires that had 2,000 miles on them. They were brand new. Am I going to change the tires? Yes, because I'm going to get new wheels and I'm going to run a proper tire setup for the power that I'm going to be at. Fuel is all right. Again, this is my weekend car. I don't drive it throughout the week. This car probably gets filled up twice a month. Fuel isn't crazy. I'd say maybe $60 to $80 a month I'm spending on fuel. It's 93. And besides that, there really has not been any other maintenance costs involved in the car. Keep in mind, these cars do have things that go out. Like I'm sure I'm going to have the infamous alternator or a slave cylinder issue that I'm going to have to take care of. But I've only put 3,000 miles on this car in my ownership, so that's not going to be an issue for years. I do have to say an oil change in this car is expensive, so depending on how much you drive it, it's going to cost you about 80 bucks if you do it yourself. My car takes around 8.5 quarts of oil, but I know the newer models of the C6 platform, once you get into like the 2010 to 2013 lineup, they typically have 10 quarts of oil, so that's another cost to keep in mind. But it's getting dark, so we're gonna move this thing. So would I do this again? Absolutely. This is the best car I've ever owned, and I don't think for this price point that there's any car that's even close to the C6 Z06. Again, very little negatives. The things that people complain about on these cars, I find ridiculous. The only valid critique I can think of is the interior. I like the fact that the car is driver oriented. Cars like this and the Toyota Supra were modeled after a fighter jet cockpit, and the heads-up display, the way that the console wraps around you as the driver, it really makes you feel like it's meant for you. However, the interior definitely is cheap. It creaks if you press on it. It's plastic. I was 4 years old when this car was made, so it's going to definitely show its age. Anyone who's looking for a sports car, if this has come across your mind, I would absolutely recommend it. Go see one, try it out, test drive it. You will not be disappointed. And I have to say, if you do test drive this car, you're probably going to end up buying one. It's just amazing, and I haven't regretted it once. So there's a lot more to come with my channel and this car. It's definitely not done at all. We're just getting started with the modifications on this, but it's getting late. I'm going to wrap things up here. Make sure to like and drop a comment. Any questions, anything you recommend for the car, let me know. But besides that, I'm going to wrap it up here. Peace.